baby. Last day the Nuggets will look like this. You know that? Think about it. It's the last day the Nuggets will look like this.
What will they look like going forward?
We'll find out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. There it is. Guys, we have such a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about Brucey B. Is he being a silly G down in Little D? We have some A's to your Q's on the other side. Can't wait to get to all of that. We're also going to be power ranking the teams ahead of free agency.
Do you want to go to Studio B, dude?
Yo, what was that?
We can do like a one-on-one.
You guys didn't like the opener?
What was that?
It was a little wordplay on letters on the alphabet.
Yeah, I got that.
You got that part? You weren't a big fan of it?
Oh
Jason Mraz over here.
I don't know how we're going to come back from that.
We're going to be power ranking the teams ahead of free agency. Where do the Nuggets land, and how much do we expect it to change tomorrow? This will be a fun exercise because we can come back to it in a week's time and be like, how much did the Nuggets rise or fall based on that? And then in that power rankings, I don't know if you guys have seen the news. The Suns are rumored to be interested in every superstar in the NBA. Somehow they already have 3 max players, but they're rumored at least 2 more.
Yay.
And we'll talk about how many it would take to beat the Denver Nuggets. To help me out, I've got I'm telling you, I've got a real lively crew here on the panel today. I got Brendan Vogt.
No, I'm about to turn it on. Watch. Feeling great. Just had a smoothie at Choice Market across the street and a salad. Can't hold me today.
What'd you go with?
I went with the Purple Rain, which is an acai, banana, like coconut milk kind of thing.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Coconut, underrated flavor. And then over there, already annoyed, it's Harrison Wind.
I'm just annoyed at this week. This has been the longest week of the year.
I'm with you, man.
How is it not free agency yet?
It really is interesting, man. I mean, we talk about this, and this is by design, that there really are a lot of different ways to follow the NBA and a lot of different ways to get, like, some people love it for fantasy purposes. Some people love it because they want to play GM. Some people love the analytics. You know, people like the film study. And we try to provide anything. This is the time of year where it's almost all the fake GMing. Right? The fake, like, let's put together a roster. What if they went with this guy or this or that? And the Nuggets are just not in that interesting of a position, honestly. Quite frankly. I just
that
don't
is
think
the most interesting when you're a bad team.
so interesting.
Yeah. That's the best part of the year when you're a bad team.
Yeah. You could start to trade. What if we made what are they looking for? This or that?
Right.
Denver's options are so limited, and obviously some of the early, our expectations are that there won't be that too much movement. But we have to start today by the latest on Bruce Brown. And it's a little thin, guys. It's a little thin, but there was a report. You want to walk us through it here, Wind?
I think the report is just that he's meeting with the Mavs.
That's it. I told you it was
when
thin,
free agency opens from our guy Tim McMahon. That comes on the heels of Mike Singer reporting that the Lakers are interested and a couple other people jumping on that the Lakers are interested. So the interest is it's rising to the surface.
I would say
it's bubbling.
So first there was the report that the Lakers can offer that MLE, but there's reports or rumors that there's teams willing to go above that even and go into cap space and offering them something bigger, which is obviously a big detail. And then of course that he wants to meet with the Mavs as soon as free agency begins tomorrow. Now here's my question. There are new rules with tampering in the new CBA, right? That went out yesterday. There's these new harsher penalties.
Did you read it?
I mean, I read every chapter of it. It took me a while, but I got through it. But one part of it that has been reported on is that there are these new rules that can even penalize the agent. Usually a third party in the transaction. What jurisdiction do you have? But now there's rules that if you get caught tampering even as an agent, you can be fined and penalized.
Does this, like the Phoenix Suns Bradley Beal thing, are we doing that in hindsight?
Maybe they got grandfathered in.
Yeah, they just snuck
No,
in.
it's totally cool if your CEO is just the son of a high-ranking player's agent. That's kosher.
All of that stuff, man.
That's kosher in the CBA.
By the way, I didn't know this, but it was brought to my attention that Isaiah Thomas, the old Isaiah Thomas, he was like a well-known tamperer.
I can see that.
Well, he's currently GMing for a team that he doesn't work for.
Somebody told me this. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is if he doesn't actually work their vote, how can you tamper?
That's a great point.
He's just Ishbia's buddy, man.
That's a great point.
He's just Ishbia's buddy. By the way, I have heard it from reliable sources. You get these mixed reports about, what. I've actually heard it from a pretty reputable person, not reporting, just in conversation. They're like, no, he's like, him and Ishbia are very close. He is the guy that is making moves out there and, very heavily. So I know you hear, is he not? I'm told that it actually is. his fingerprints all over a lot of the stuff. But to your point, he doesn't actually work for the team. So you're kind of in that sweet spot where how could you tamper? But I was told even at the or in the playoffs, I can't remember, he was caught on camera. I can't remember who it was. Or no, maybe I don't remember when it was, but he was caught on camera taking
the ball from Nikola Jokic.
No. That was Ishbia. This is we're talking about Isaiah Thomas, where he said something to Damian Lillard that was just come to Phoenix, we'll work it out, like or something like that. And it was like
we'll work it out.
And it was like on a camera where it wasn't even a subtle cover the mouth. It's just like he's out there. So allegedly he's a well-known tamperer.
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas is the definition of like a used car salesman. Like he is a slick talker who can probably convince you to do a lot of shit. But in the end, like will not be able to actually back it up.
I got really excited when I saw him next to Ishbia that night.
I know.
Because it was we waited because there were bigger fish to fry in the moment.
So true.
But that was a beautiful sign.
Dude.
And I did it. How can you make new owner syndrome worse? Shadow GM Isaiah Thomas.
You're so right, man.
What a treat.
I think I'm officially on that with Ishbia, where I'm like, hey, he's willing to spend a lot of money, although unclear if he realizes he's spending a lot of money. That's part of this new CBA. Like a lot of teams, I think, are like, hey, hold on, what is the long-term
Did you see the report that...
Again, that one sounded more like a rumor, right?
A rumor that maybe there's a rift in the front office
yeah.
about knowing exactly how this second apron works.
I'll tell you, Isaiah Thomas definitely did not read the CBA. There's no way.
No, he didn't.
But I get back to the tampering thing just to say this. When I saw that report that says plans to meet as soon as free agency begins, let's not kid ourselves. We all know that there's a lot of tampering. Is that a real meeting? Is that the formal meeting? And how much of these talks have already happened? I kind of assume that was everybody now is doing the thing where it's like, yeah, he's probably in Dallas. And whenever the clock strikes, what is it tomorrow? Do we know? Is it 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock Eastern time? Where the free agent begins. Whenever that happens,
6 Eastern. That's
where the official visit begins. But everything's already been ironed out. That's just the photo op where you show everything.
Yeah.
So
then it's the moratorium where you can't actually agree to a deal, but you can negotiate.
Right. That you can negotiate.
Just if you got it, just a warning to all NBA players out there. I don't know if you read the CBA, but you can't actually agree to any deals.
So that's the details here. But to keep this moving, one of the things I wanted to talk about, we obviously believe. Is there anybody here on the panel that thinks that the Nuggets would not be better if they were to bring back Bruce Brown? And for whatever reason, it wouldn't make any difference.
Oh, it'd be an optimal outcome to bring him back.
Yeah.
Optimal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think on the scale, I think I'm on the side of it would actually be pretty substantial. I don't think the Nuggets can't win a title if they lost Bruce Brown, but I do look at the roster and go, man, that's going to be razor thin and vulnerable, and you need some players that are unproven to play up to what your hopes are, which is always tough when you're talking about a Zeke Naji, you're talking about a Peyton Watson, even a Christian Brown. Like you're asking for health the same that you had this year. How well would you survive an injury to one of your starters that lasted a month or this or that? It gets really, really fragile. And on top of that, here's the other thing about Bruce. Have we seen the best of Bruce in Denver? If he does sign back next year, is it crazy to think that he might actually be better now, just knowing the team better knows how to use him, that you have better chemistry, more confidence, better relationship? So I actually think I'm on the side of the scale that says it's kind of a big deal to get Bruce back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, clearly the Nuggets' best bench player last season, and it wasn't really close. For most of the year, this is easy to forget now, for most of the year, the bench was a disaster for the Nuggets, and Bruce Brown was really the only bright spot consistently night in, night out. And so, yeah, of course it would be a massive, massive loss. And look, if he goes to a team like the Lakers or the Mavs, a potential Western Conference playoff opponent, that makes it even worse. So, I mean, it would be a huge loss.
The lineup versatility, it's a big hit in the regular season, but also especially in the postseason when it only drops to 8 guys anyway. And with Bruce, it's, let's say Jamal isn't out there. Well, he is a ball handler. You could close with Bruce instead of KCP, which has happened for some reasons. As we know, you can close with Bruce instead of Michael Porter Jr. if you have to. So the flexibility in terms of what kind of lineups you can build, you can close with, even when you're already down to 8 guys, Bruce is essential in that way. I mean, he doesn't just fill one hole. Right, he's a guy that he fills multiple needs off that bench, and he was one of the best bench players in the postseason.
And then to your point,
in the league.
There is a lot of like it's Western Conference teams that keep getting rumored to him. So it would be one thing if it's like, ah, damn, he went to a team you won't see to the finals to. Man, you might have to match up with that.
It would be such a smart move for the Lakers to sign Bruce Brown. It would be so smart because you're stealing away the Nuggets 6-man and just an integral piece of the Nuggets championship run. And you're leaving the Nuggets in a position where they really don't have an option to replace them. And if you're the Lakers, you've got to be thinking you're probably going to see the Nuggets down the road in the playoffs, potentially again next season. So besides just everything that Bruce gives you on the court, like if you're the Lakers, that'd be a smart move to sign him, I think. Be really shrewd.
I do think there is a small dynamic of I'm more afraid of the Nuggets losing him because they can't replace him than I am of facing him. And I don't, no disrespect at all to Bruce, but I think he's coming off of a perfect fit scenario where we saw some of the best of Bruce.
He's playing with Nikola Jokic.
That's what I'm trying to say.
He completes the Nuggets.
He completes the Nuggets.
He doesn't make the Nuggets. He completes
them.
And so it's the same thing. Would he complete the Dallas Mavericks? They feel like they need more to be complete.
That's what right.
So I think that's kind of what you're getting at.
Like Denver could beat a team with Bruce Brown. But the best version of Denver going into next season
has Bruce,
includes him.
Yeah,
There's no
includes
doubt.
him a lot. Now, here's what I want to get at, though, because we've talked about this a lot over the last few days, but let's think long-term here. Because the idea is Denver, if they do re-sign him, it's almost certainly, I mean, let's just say almost certainly, if they re-sign him, it's a 1+1. You sign a new deal, it'd be $7.8 million with a player option for the year after that. So it gives him, I think, around $15, $16 million, somewhere in that range of guaranteed money. So if he played next year and got hurt or something happened where his stock completely tanked, he could opt in and still recoup a little bit of guaranteed money. But the idea would be he would sign the one-year deal, have a successful season, opt out, and then sign a new, longer deal with the Denver Nuggets at a bigger scale or with another team at a bigger scale, sort of what the opportunities present him this year. So there would be a one-year, when we talk about with the difference between Bruce signing here is elsewhere, it's really about one-year risk more than it is about long-term money. It's the one-year risk that he might be at the apex of his value right now, and most players strike while the iron's hot. But if we talk about the Denver's long-term, well, first of all, next year, if you sign him to that big deal, you're kind of locked in. It's fine. Denver can afford it. Their roster's already set.
Are you sure they could afford it?
What do you mean?
Are you sure they wouldn't be in the second tax apron?
But it doesn't matter because their roster is complete. They're not looking to add people. You go to that apron and it doesn't matter. You're not. It takes away your flexibility to do some other things. But Denver doesn't need anything if they get Bruce. They have their roster locked in.
I know. I'm just saying with like a new Jamal Murray deal coming.
But that's the future. I want to get to that. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
That's where I'm going. Because, yeah, I'm trying to set for next year. If they did this deal
next year,
without
yes.
a promise, it was just like come back for one more year, be a free agent, and we'll play it by year. I would say there's no risk to Denver. There's risk to Bruce, a lot of risk to Bruce, but there's no risk to Denver. If you gave a promise under the table, again, this would be illegal, but if you said we're going to sign you to 1 year and then after that we're going to re-up you, then it comes into what you're talking about here, Harrison, where after next year, KCP has a player option. Jamal Murray would be in the final year of his deal. Denver probably looking to extend him and give him an enormous amount of money. That's where I look at 2 years from now, if that was your plan, I'm not certain that you were going to be committed to both Bruce and KCP.
Yeah. And that's why I've been thinking everybody's talking about, bring back Bruce and then you give the wink handshake agreement. Yeah, we'll re-up you. I don't think Denver can commit to that. Like, I don't know if Calvin can commit to. I bet he can be like, yeah, like
we'll try.
That would be the plan. But I don't think you can promise something like that.
Right.
With
that's why I bring it up.
All the money that's already committed to Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and KCP.
And then also, vested interest in Nuggets success aside, would not recommend that Bruce take anyone's wink week deal, if I were his agent or his friend.
Sure.
Just say he's only made, I think, around $14 million in his career anyway to this point, right? And he could take a mid-level from one of these teams, essentially double that, with the option to still get paid again down the road. So,
do you think Denver has any goodwill signing Michael Porter to an early max extension, not trading Jamal Murray when it was pretty clear he was going to miss at least one, but probably 2 playoff runs? Do you think there's any goodwill? And just also, I mean, this team does have a connected tissue to it. Like, do you think there's anything where he would be slightly more inclined to do it or slightly more inclined to believe that the Nuggets would fulfill their promise?
I think the Nuggets are regarded as like an organization that does right by people and would be a team that you could trust with something like that compared to some other teams for sure.
Not sure how dialed into this players or agents are, but also there has been a leadership change in the meantime, right? And I don't know if I would say there's a drastic difference, but is Calvin Tim, right, in terms of how he approaches this? I would say that's still up in the air.
But,
he
well,
might be a
first of
little
all,
more cutthroat.
Michael Malone could have been fired, wasn't, stuck with the plan.
Sure.
Tim Conley, all this stuff. And so part of me thinks that this is more of a Kroenke thing. And I know everybody wants to hate the Kroenkes. One thing I'll say about them, whenever I ask people, off record, not even needing like, hey, I need this, or, you got to gas him up because you're pressure. One thing they do say is that they run this like a family business, meaning they really are.
Right.
And they have. The proof is in the pudding, again, with sticking with Malone, sticking with Tim, then going straight to Cal, that they do sort of regard this as, hey, we take care of our people and we trust the plan and this or that. But I want to get back to the Bruce piece of this. KCP's older than Bruce by several years. I think KCP shows no signs of slowing down, but he is at the age where 2 years from now, he probably is starting to slow down. And is it crazy that Bruce might replace KCP as the starting shooting guard, not next season, but the season after? Wouldn't that sound like maybe that's actually a good plan?
They're such different players.
Yeah.
Like KCP is a shooting guard in the Nuggets Jokic ball offense. Like Bruce Brown is kind of this jack of all trades, plays a bunch of different positions. I feel like that'd be a huge downgrade going from KCP to Bruce at the starting two. Even in a couple years from now when KCP is, 2 years older, Bruce will be 29 by then. So I don't know if I like that.
What about, if I phrase it another way, because Christian isn't up for contract by then, what if Christian's the starting shooting guard and Bruce is just the long-term six man who's really a six starter because of how it works? Because I think Bruce would accept a bench role if it was like, hey, yeah, but you're playing 26 minutes a night. What do you think about that one? Would that make sense to you?
I think these are viable paths. I think these are tenable sort of long-term strategies. And again, goes back to what I like about Bruce is the sort of ideally you could bring him off the bench, but to the point the initial question, I think you could start him if you needed to. I don't know if I would say it's ideal, but you could.
He could replace, but more to the point, he could replace KCP.
Right.
Like, we're not sure how long KCP will be here. I mean, but next year for sure, but after that, who knows?
But also, right, the way that these contracts are lining up, right, you're making this decision pretty early here.
Right.
Like, there's somewhat of a gamble in promising, as you said, Bruce that wink deal. Especially, it's just going to get tighter and tighter.
I mean, also, it's just like you tear your Achilles, the deal's off.
Yeah, that's just how it works, man.
That's how it works.
The risk. So, all right, let's take a break. I just say all that to say we always think about next year, but there is something to what is Denver's long-term plan, and could it actually be that Bruce? They look at it and say, hey, Bruce is actually the replacement for KCP in short order, and they'll just kind of switch roles, or KCP moves on, and it's revolving shark teeth, if you will, to use a metaphor. Let's take a break. On the other side, guys, Woj bomb coming in.
Whoa.
Woj bomb coming in. James Harden on his way out of Philadelphia.
Does not have to do with Bruce Brown.
No, it doesn't have to do with Bruce Brown.
Guys, make sure to check out Ibotta. Ibotta, new partner here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast. You're probably asking what Ibotta is. Ibotta is an app that you download from the App Store, and it gives you cash back on things that you probably already buy, like groceries, online purchases, and more. All you have to do is download the app, and then you upload your receipt after shopping, and then just log on, watch your cash back grow. So you can earn cash back on every shopping trip. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods. They give you real cash back, not just points like some other companies do. The average Ibotta user earns $120 a year in real cash back. That's just an extra $120 for uploading a receipt. That's not bad. So right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners here at DNVR $5 for free just for trying Ibotta when you use the code DNVR when you register. So just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, download the free Ibotta app, and use the code DNVR. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play or App Store, and use code DNVR.
By the way, RG made an hour-long vlog of the entire finals that is up on the Ibotta YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You could check out an entire, his spotlights. It's an hour long. It goes through literally every game, the
It's actually
parade,
incredible.
and the bar. It's really dope. Game 5's, the Game 5 chapter.
And he's got stuff from the parade in there
Parade
too.
chapter.
Yeah, so that's on the Ibotta YouTube channel.
Go
so
to
you
that
can,
after this.
After our show's over, go watch that. It's pretty awesome. Kind Love, an official partner here at DNVR, one of the first dispensaries in Colorado, established in 2010, and they are known for cultivating some of the highest quality cannabis in the state. Authentic genetics, patient grow techniques, one of the highest quality brands in Colorado as well. They've got what we know as the turbo joint. 0.7 grams of whole bud combined with 0.3 grams of turbo keef. Ridiculously potent and burns significantly smoother than other infused pre-rolls on the market. You can visit one of the Kind Love stores in Cherry Creek or North Denver. Mention DNVR. Get the DNVR exclusive discount. That's 25% off all Kind Love flower, pre-rolls, and their turbo joint line. Visit their website as well, kindlove.com. You can browse their entire menu. You can order online. You can also visit them in store. They are in Cherry Creek or North Denver. Mention DNVR. Get the DNVR exclusive discount, 25% off all Kind Love flower, pre-rolls, and their turbo joint line.
Alrighty, back here, segment 2, and we have a Woj bomb. Woj, the second greatest newsbreaker in the NBA world. We'll get to number 1 in just a second, but he says, breaking! 76ers guard James Harden is picking up his $35.6 million option, and sides are beginning to work together and exploring trade scenarios, sources tell ESPN. It's expected that Harden has played his last game for Philadelphia. Now, we knew this was a very strong possibility. There were rumors in the season that while they were near favorites to win an NBA title, there was rumors that James Harden was very interested in going back to Houston.
I love the Sixers, man.
I know. Honestly, I'm telling you, we will never get another win like this in our lives where the two rival takes, one plummeted, one collapsed in and on itself like that submarine. And then the other one just flew all the way to the moon.
I gotta say, this is pretty crazy to me that James Harden is just making an unceremonious exit, though.
I know, so unlike him.
That's crazy, man.
Out of all the guys to do it, I never thought it'd be him.
At least they got the title first.
So here's the thing, a couple things here. One, Daryl Morey is well-versed in handling stars as they are forcing their way out, and it always feels like it's imminent that, okay, all right, he's going to have to trade him now this summer, and he always seems to find a way to wait to the last minute, sometimes halfway through a season before making a trade. So the Daryl Morey portion of this is going to probably be excruciating, and I know we'd all love an answer tomorrow. Might not come. Number 2 piece of this is, what do the 76ers do? Is this the trade where he goes to, Portland? What was the report from Windhorst earlier in the week? Do you remember when he was
I don't freaking know.
He said something like, I think Dame is just sitting there waiting on the Blazers to make their mind or whatever it was. And it was so is this the trade? Is it Dame going to Philly? But more importantly, the process is officially dead. Are the 76ers sneaky dead? What do you make? What's your first thought when you hear this?
I actually think this puts them in a position to squirm and audible. Tyrese Maxey's really good. And Joel Embiid, in the regular season, he's a very valuable player.
Some would say he's the most valuable player.
And in that setting, he might be. So they're not. And honestly, I think Harden was, as well as he has played, which is a little bit better than those who aren't watching might guess, the way he's talked about online. He is, of course, he's in the descent, right, of his career. And I think that there's a chance that actually spending more attention on Maxey, and if you nail this trade, filling out the rest of your roster, you could be a slightly better team next year.
Whoa.
Dude, We all need a vote in our lives to give us the positive
Yo,
spin
man,
on
you
like,
gotta parachute into Philly and give a speech to a distraught Joel Embiid right now.
I'm almost ready to be like Sixers.
My
title?
God.
Honestly, here's what I'm saying. As someone who desperately wants this team to continue to lose, I'd have been stoked if they were like, no, Harden's staying. Harden's staying. I'm like,
You know
oh,
what?
yeah, that team just wins next year? Sure.
This is a rare example. You're actually right. Where it's like he's leaving, they are screwed. But if he was
Like-
staying, oh yeah, they would have been screwed.
No, but yeah, no, they have a chance now, is what I'm saying. Whereas the last option, I would say no.
Woj follows it up and says the Clippers and Knicks are expected to be among the teams that'll engage with the Sixers.
The
on
Knicks?
potential. Yeah, the Knicks. Well, I mean, the Knicks have been trying to get a superstar for a long time, man.
Is Joel Embiid going to play with Julius Randle?
No. They're looking. Oh yeah, that's the piece. That would be hilarious.
Oh my God, get your Smug Life shirts now.
I know. We're feeling so smug. We're just straight up talking. Honestly, here's what I think of when I hear this. There's just going to be a lot of chaos, man. Because not that I think.
And we'll be live tomorrow as the NBA trade deadline happens right here on this set.
Because Harden, it could be a Dame move. This could be some trade that lands Damian Lillard in Philadelphia, as has long been rumored. It could be,
And James Harden in Portland?
I think they would probably be more like a James Harden back to Houston, and then Portland just starts the rebuild into earnest with one of the 18 lottery picks that the Houston Rockets have from the last 3
Dude.
years.
Daryl Morey sucks. Daryl Morey is a fraud.
Who's going to have the hottest take today? Let's do it. We are
Daryl
we
Morey
are a different show since the
sold
championship.
his soul for James Harden.
He did.
James
That's actually-
Harden walked off that plane in Philly. Daryl Morey was right there to give him that hug, take all those pictures. And what does James Harden do 2 years later? Leaves him out to dry.
Man,
See ya.
it's
Now
so
I'm going to
true.
opt in and make you trade me.
Yeah, opt into the deal.
I made you trade for me once when you traded for me when I was in Brooklyn. Now I'm going to make you trade me again to where I want to go next.
This is spicy.
He has Daryl Morey around his finger, man.
He really does. I mean, I think, this is one of those ones where every GM thinks they're friends with the players,
Yeah, and then in reality, Tim Connolly's actually the only guy who's friends with the players.
It actually is. Man, that is harsh, but it is interesting. Now, who's the funnier player to send back or funnier play? No, actually, let me ask it this way: James Harden goes to the Clippers, but you don't lose either of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. Does that makes the Clippers funnier? Because it makes them even more
Who they are.
of what they are somehow.
It's like
but it also,
Porzingis to Boston.
but it also makes them better, right? Like their upside becomes ridiculously high.
Is that possible, though? Oh, I'm serious.
Is it possible for their upside to be theoretically better than what
No. Them to get Harden without including those two guys.
Bro, I mean,
James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard is hands down the funniest team of all time.
yeah.
That is a hilarious.
It'd be like
team.
the only team ever where the conference finals start in 24 hours and no one knows where the best players are. No one's heard from them in a week.
Man, this is wild. All right, let's get in. As a way of doing this, though, I wanted to look at power ranking the NBA. And now you have a
nice.
new data point. I was going to do it because I wanted to do, let's power rank before free agency because it's going to be so wild. I think it'll make a good comparison to go left to right. Based on only the information we have right now, I task vote with making a top 10
Actually,
list.
before this last.
So now you're going to have
So that's
to-
going to be fun.
Yeah, so this will be a fun one to go. But let's start in your list. We're going to count back from 10. Is that the idea?
Sure.
All right. Let's
I don't know, actually. I haven't seen what producer Kale's cooked up. Coming in at number 10. Ears are ringing, relevant as ever. The Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this was as is. This was assuming that Harden comes back. And I think they're going to win some regular season games again in that form. I had them this low because, as I said earlier, sincerely meant it, Harden and Embiid would never win a title. I actually think they have a chance to move up on this list depending on how this trade goes.
I can't believe this. This is such a great take, man. This is great takesmanship.
Thank you. I honestly believe it.
I know, but that's what makes it so great. Is it's
I
not?
honestly believe
it's
it.
crazy, but not crazy. Hold up a second, because
Sure.
one thing about this that I forgot to get to in the previous section, there is a guy on Twitter who goes by Dropping Dimes, aka the amateur NBA analyst. Definitely a 20-year-old, but somehow knows everything that's going to happen in the NBA and has for a couple off seasons now. And he just this week was tweeting out that James Harden was going to be traded, that he's going to opt in and be traded. And here we are. And he tweeted out, "I'm him." Like, and he's right about this now. But the other thing he said was that Karl Anthony Towns was either going to go to the Suns. Was it Suns and Blazers?
I forget what he said.
It was Suns and Clippers. Does that sound right?
Just insert the usual 5 teams.
Clippers, Suns.
Probably.
Clippers, Suns, I think, were the
Clippers,
teams.
Suns. So there you go. Kind of interesting. Just something that it's always weird when there's a random guy on Twitter that seems to have a great track record. Certainly a burner, right? This is somebody's friends in the industry that kind of knows everything that's going on. But it's at least funny that there's this guy
For sure.
beating Woj to the punch on all of these
for sure.
these updates.
I mean, you know my thing about like the big news breakers. They really don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like somebody just tells them. This is the same thing that was going on with the draft. You know, like Brandon Miller. You know. He's going to go 3. Scoot Henderson. Like somebody just says something and then everybody reports the same thing. And then somebody switches it up and then everybody, it just, never mind.
Let's go through a couple scenarios though with Philly real quick. Just reckless speculation.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Harden for Dame. Are you now?
I don't.
Are they good now?
This really could be a blessing in disguise for Philly. Totally.
That's what, that's votes. Yeah, votes.
Vote's probably right with this.
Yeah, they would be better. They would be considerably better.
Considerably better? I think
actually that might be a bit much. Dude, you know what? I
pitted you against the guy.
Let me think a little bit because you're going to run into some similar issues.
Of course.
That firepower's there. The 1-5 is there. How's the defense?
Yeah.
How's the defense? How's the effort? And also, again,
spam the pick and roll.
Not a guy that has won yet. So all that pressure and stuff and the questions would all still be there. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I would think they'd be I think they'd be better, but maybe not substantially better.
If you somehow it was like for Paul George.
Are the 76ers too good of a team for Lillard to go to? Or
No,
are they
no.
right in the sweet spot?
I think they're right
where
in the sweet
they're
spot.
not the super team, but they're still a contender.
By his logic, that's the perfect sweet spot.
That's what I'm thinking too.
But I also agree with Chat. I can't imagine the Blazers taking Harden. As you said, maybe part of a bigger
that would be
web.
more of a framework of a trade that sent him to somewhere else. But who knows? I mean, Houston to me makes the most sense because Houston. They have too many. It's weird to say they do have too many prospects. They're going to cannibalize each other. So
why would Houston want anything to do with James Harden?
Sell tickets, man. Nate Jones had a big rant on Twitter the other day about this. That what do we have there? Another new owner who promised to win championships immediately. That hasn't gone very well.
He's not that new, but
he's pretty new. Tillman Fertitta, what has he been there? 3 years?
Longer than that, man. I mean, he was pre-pandemic, which was 3 years ago.
So maybe 5 years, but either way, he came in like, let me tell you guys how to win, and it's been terrible. And he might be a guy that's like, man, 5 years of losing out on money. Like, no, I'd get James Harden in here. It should be an 8 seed. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It'd just be a disaster.
Bottom line kind of money type thing. He also lost a lot of money in the pandemic because all of his restaurants were closed.
I'm sure he's okay. I'm sure he's doing all right.
Probably all right.
All I know is that some of these names and this team is in this position, and it's a position that many people suspected they've been in when they hitched their wagon to James Harden.
Yeah.
And here we are. It's messy.
All right. I guess that was I was going to say Paul George. If this was like a Paul George, James Harden swap.
Then Philly gets a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul George is a great player.
And the Clippers get a lot worse.
And they have the perfect combo, the 1-3-5 as your stars.
I can't tell you
that'd be a great trade.
How much money I would bet against a Kawhi James Harden team.
Ooh.
Though it's just the Clippers. It's like, hey,
if
man,
the Clippers would do it,
it could work.
They're like, yeah, it's like Wynn's take. Some of these orgs are looking at Denver winning and going, yeah, it's a weak top of the NBA. Let's triple down. Let's triple down. We'll get our third star.
Okay, I love it. Let's go one more before we take a break. Actually, let's take a break.
We'll get to the rest sure? Because it's timely. All right.
Well, that's a good tease. That's a good tease.
Volo Sports. Volo is the largest social sports company in the entire United States. And we are in the kickball league, I believe. Beer in hand, kickball league. I think that's tonight, Thursday night. You playing?
Tonight? No, I'm not.
If there's a tornado,
I've heard there might
really
be a tornado.
Oh, yeah, there was a tornado
play it
warning,
safe.
as per usual these days. If you don't have a team, sign up as a free agent with the Volo Pass monthly membership programs that gives you an unlimited access to sports events and social activities every night. You can get unlimited pickups and drop-ins and tournaments, $20 a month, minimum 3-month membership, or $200 a year. And Volo has leagues throughout the entire city. Lodo, Rhino, Uptown, City Park, the Highlands, Sloan's Lake, Cherry Creek, DU, Englewood, Arvada, Aurora, Northfield, and more. If you did not sign up already, that's okay. A lot of seasons have started, but you can still get the Volo Pass. Start playing in leagues as a free agent today. Make sure to use code DNVR10 for $10 off at www.volosports.com/Denver. At Illegal Pete's, they've got the best happy hour around. This episode of the DNVR Nuggets podcast brought to you by Illegal Pete's. It's your go-to spot this summer. Like I said, the longest happy hour around 3 to 8 p.m. every single day at all 12 Illegal Pete's locations. You can also wear your Nuggets gear and get a house marg or draft beer for free with the purchase of an adult entree. They got a great patio at most Illegal Pete's locations as well.
They have an inside too in case there's a tornado.
They have a large inside as well. The one on Colfax, they got that upstairs area too.
I love it, dude.
Tons of seating. 3 to 8 p.m. happy hour every single day at all 12 Illegal Pete's locations. Check them out. Great food, great drinks at Illegal Pete's.
The chat's cracking.
Yeah, this is such a great day for the chat.
This is a great day in the NBA.
It's just
this is what
the
you
funniest
call
ones.
a peak day in the NBA.
This league.
The league that sucks except for the Nuggets.
Jake Fisher is reporting that early talks between the Clippers, which have been going on this week, reportedly, have been centered around Marcus Morris, and I'm trying to find the other name he put in there, but it did not. Oh, Norman Powell.
Yeah,
Marcus
I don't think
Morris and Norman
that's
Powell.
making the 76ers better.
Here's the thing, though, man. Sometimes your hands are a little bit tied. We're talking about a 30-something-year-old point guard who has, issues in terms of fit. Is he going to make a long commitment to too many plays? Like, what is the value of a guy who's basically forcing his way out? It's this is called
to one team apparently to sell tickets.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying this is something of a distressed asset where there might be one team, maybe it's a Portland, that wants the deal and it's like, hey, this is the deal. And every other team is offering 50 cents on the dollar because they're like, I don't know if Harden's going to be here for more than a year, man. We don't want to give up the farm for 1 year of a disgruntled, half-assed James Harden, which is probably what you're going to get.
Oh, my God.
Probably what you're going to get.
I mean, all we need now is the Phoenix Suns to jump in quickly.
Oh, let's go, yeah.
Just snag a meeting.
Oh, man, can you imagine KD gets there and he ends up with Kyrie and Harden again? He's like, God damn it. But no, here's the other part of this. Let's say the deal is something like that where it's not any one player, but it's a collection of role players. My hot take for this offseason was that I would not be surprised if Embiid does not finish next year on the 76ers.
So could this be a redux of what happened in Brooklyn?
It could be where he's just the first to leave.
Kyrie gets out, KD gets out. Does Embiid...
I love my life right now.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Does Embiid preemptively demand a trade before this Harden trade can go through so he gets out first?
I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't think preemptively. But Vote, don't you feel like if the return is a Norman Powell? And
absolutely.
Embiid looks around and is like, guys, I'm getting clowned for my playoffs.
He's also online enough that Win might be right. He might not wait. He might just be like, you know what? I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Here's my fit. Trade me too.
Yeah.
So that's possible, which is even before this latest Woj bomb. It's why this list was obviously very difficult, but particularly for a team like Philly, which in my opinion is volatile or could go in myriad directions right now. So
don't you also feel like with Daryl Morey? I mean, he's no dummy. You want to extend your career there in Philly. That's a very analytics friendly ownership group. There might be a look, man, they want to force us to trade him for Dame. I don't think it's going to work. Why don't we trade him to Houston? We're going to get, Jalen Green and 2 or 3 of these guys. We're going to get Jabari Smith. And that makes no sense with Embiid. So we got to trade Embiid too. And then we're going to do the same thing where we're just going to start the process over. Only this time Daryl Morey at the helm. Hey, man. I'm the guy that can finish the process.
Oh, my God.
After I started over again.
I'm just saying, man, that seems more like... I'm just saying, my take on Embiid, I'm feeling pretty good about. I don't know if it's going to happen bang, bang. All right, let's get back to the list.
Hold on. The Clippers could roll out a starting 5 of James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook. That could be
think you can get
four
all
of their five.
I can't get all of those guys there, man. There's no way.
Three of them are already there.
They could. All right, so another team that could
This is
change,
an
that could go in a
incredible
lot of different directions, but is near Philly in terms of seriousness right now for me, and that is the Los Angeles
I can't believe you
Clippers.
have these guys 9-10. Unbelievable.
Too low?
I mean, just hilarious that they're back to back.
Just
And this
they
is-
belong together.
They
I
really
think
do.
somehow.
They really do.
Spiritually, they're in a similar boat. I think.
Doc Rivers, there's a through
There's
line.
just something there. Yeah, the Clippers, could they win a bunch of games? Sure. I'm sure Kirk Goldsberry's working on the piece right now, but I don't think they're going to win a title.
Wait a second.
So-
Somebody just brought this in the chat, and I think that there's
You like that one?
That was good.
here's something that somebody just brought up. All right, Harden goes, and you don't get the return that you want. The only thing you can do is sell him, and you get the poo-poo platter from Houston of young prospects, which are good, but it's long term. Is there any chance that Embiid actually gets traded to Portland? We keep thinking Dame's going to leave. What if it's just, you know what? Scoot Henderson got Scoot for you, and I don't know what other young way is. Simons, we got some young guys here. We'll send your way. That would suck. That's the actual doomsday scenario.
I would not
Now
like
they're
that
in the-
one.
Now that's just the West just somehow
Dude,
gets all of
playing
the good
Embiid 4
teams.
times a year, that'd be fun as hell.
It would be fun, and
That'd
that
be
rivalry
fun.
is real.
That'd be fun.
Damon Embiid combined for 100 and
For
a
that
loss.
to happen, though, I really feel like Embiid has to look at this situation and be like, trade me. I feel like that would have to be the first domino. He's just got to be like, I'm out of here.
Portland's track record of
And then Philly as a city, just goes up in flames.
Portland's track record of big men with injury problems, not great.
Good point.
Good point.
That would be a little concerning, but what can you do? All right, let's keep moving here.
Number 8
All right.
on the list, the Golden State Warriors.
Man, this one's wild.
I
This one's tough.
I really struggled on where to put these guys. I don't think they're suddenly a joke. I think they can beat a lot of teams. I think Steph has actually moved back up for me in terms of my best in the world rankings.
Yeah.
Rightful kind of top 3 spot. I gave them Draymond in this exercise. Let's assume Draymond comes back. I do not like this idea of starting Chris Paul, and especially if it means Looney to the bench. And I think some of it, there was this beautiful balance Golden State once had, and I think they're slowly becoming more of a hope the shots go in kind of top-heavy team. And so there's a high ceiling on that, but I also think there's a kind of low floor on this team. Curious what you
I've
guys
told
think.
you guys my take privately. I'll say it publicly. I think this is going to be a disaster. Chris Paul to the Warriors. I think this season either ends with Chris Paul either not on the Warriors or out of the rotation completely. Like, I think it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. I think that this is a team that has all of these teams so far, all 3 of them have great potential to rise or fall in the coming week.
Right,
Based
that's
on
exactly
what
it.
happened. Like Draymond leaves, like, okay, like what are we doing here? Or they make a crazy trade where it's like Klay Thompson gets traded and it's a whole new James Harden. Imagine the Warriors tried to extend the dynasty by getting James Harden and Chris Paul to round out their roster to replace. Let's get weird. So I think these teams anyway have a good chance to change. All right, what
Yeah,
else we
these
got?
are all, I think, this is a pretty malleable list, especially in the next 24 hours. How about some Sacramento Kings respect?
Man, look at this.
Can't say I see
Nice.
them winning the title, but man, at a certain point, they won all those games last year. That was their first playoff series. They almost beat that Warriors team.
Well, they'll probably be a little higher on that list if they get Bruce Brown.
So they're more mature now, and maybe that honestly might have been the difference between them and beating Golden State. So yeah, I'm going to show the Kings some respect. I don't know if I'd say bona fide contenders, fella, but I'm going to put them on this list. I got them at 7.
All right. All right.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, they could be good. They're a good team, man. They're a good team.
Yeah.
I'm not overlooking them is what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 6, the Los Angeles
Wow.
Lakers. Now I hear if they get Bruce Brown, I should move them up to 1 or 2. But for now, they
Dude, that
don't
was
have them.
You're referencing Anthony Irwin's tweet?
Yeah.
That was a perfect tweet. It really was.
What tweet?
Anthony Irwin yesterday said something like, if Bruce comes to the Lakers, I have those two teams as equals or something like that.
I screenshotted that.
Yeah, for sure. Of course you did.
My guy, Anthony.
It was so
I love you, man.
Because when it came on June 28th, which is like the best time for that kind of reckless.
Yeah, in between June 25th and July 7th.
Great reckless speculation type tweet. Also, yeah, whatever. Here's why it was great.
I think that came on the heels of me saying Bruce would be the Lakers' third best player and me getting ratioed for that.
You got ratioed? How hilarious. Who do they think it was?
Reeves.
They think he's better than Bruce Brown?
Clearly, Adam.
Yeah.
Clearly.
To ratio you? Like, my God. Here's why it's a perfect tweet. Because it pits us against ourselves. Because then you want to do the, like, he's not that good, but he's our guy. You know what I mean? Like, it makes you... It's good. It like actually twists you in a little bit of a knot that I thought, you know what, Anthony is so good at being a troll.
I think the Lakers did make the conference finals. I think they legitimately improved. I also
You think they improved?
From the trade deadline last season to the
okay.
they became a team that I think should be somewhere in this area of the list. Plus, but it's hard to say, guys. I mean, we got to see how LeBron recovers.
I saw they waved Mo Bamba today.
Well, yeah.
How does LeBron recover from that foot surgery too?
Yeah, but you're missing actually the real detail. Did you hear? Very motivated.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's right.
He's very motivated.
Well, he's the son, so
because Michael Malone has been talking that shit, and he is very motivated.
Yeah.
Last year he wasn't as motivated.
Some people say that was the difference between the sweep and a series win. Motivation. That was all they were missing.
We're talking such shit about the Lakers.
Yeah, we can right now.
Here's the funny thing, though, about it, man. Lakers' health, I know it's annoying, but that team got healthy at the exact right moment last year, only to get swept in the conference finals. Like, the odds of them somehow making it equally as far, being more rested, more healthy.
Probably true, man. I'm definitely not scared of them, but I don't think that run was a total fluke. I honestly think they improved a lot. Coming at number 5.
They had a pretty easy road, too.
Not sure what to do with this one. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Man, that's kind of low.
It's low. They did lose in the first round, but also Giannis did hurt his back. But also, are we getting stale vibes in Milwaukee?
Yes.
Well, it seems like there's some panic about potentially losing
Middleton.
Brook Lopez.
Oh, and Brook, yeah.
And Chris Middleton, who's expected to
I think
come
Middleton
back,
will go back,
but did decline. I'm giving the Middleton in this exercise.
Brook Lopez already has his championship, so he's probably not chasing, but it would be awfully fun to have him in Denver as a backup. He should come in for a Jeff Green role.
I think the Bucks are...
He's so good.
He's good. He'd be a great backup. He's too good for that. But
I think there's some potential staleness coming Milwaukee's way. And I don't know, if I'm a role player, the next time Giannis makes like a milkshake joke, and I'm like, all right, dude, that's fine.
I sneaky like that pick, even though I would have him higher, like a lot higher. But there's disaster potential for the Bucks. First time I'll say that in the Giannis era.
There's disaster potential for this pick, but I respect the record across the years and the playoff wins. I'm putting the Miami Heat in the top 4.
Wait, Heat culture came in 4th?
Heat culture comes in 4th.
You know they're going to be a first round out next year.
I know, man. Especially once I put them in the top 4, I was like, yeah, they're going to be bad.
I don't know. I just feel like Embiid makes them better. Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of yourself. I do think, though, there is a little bit of you step back at the last 4 or 5 years. Got to put a little respect on this Heat org, man.
You do have to respect them.
They have gotten there twice. They've been in the mix just about every time.
Yep.
So is this maybe a bit ambitious? Sure. But I was not going to put the Bucks ahead of them, man. I can't do it. They just beat the Bucks in the first round. Not doing it. Number 3, high ceiling.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
You got it. Damn it.
No,
Because we got to take
bad.
a break. We got to come back on the other side with the top 3.
Well,
who could it be? We don't know.
You'll never know.
Guys, check out FOCO, pronounced like Fort Collins, but it's FOCO. They are a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise. They have a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, bobbleheads. They also have a whole Nuggets championship line, championship edition stuff that you got to get for history. FOCO always has our back for Colorado sports. They have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in our description. For all non-presale items, you can use the promo code DNVR for 10% off. Again, FOCO, they are officially licensed with all the major leagues, so this is legit stuff. A lot of our set decorations came from FOCO. They even donated a few awesome pieces for our sets, so Go show these guys some love. Go to foco.com, use the code DNVR, 10% off all non-presale items.
We back?
Yep.
All right, the top 3 of Votes Power Rankings pre-free agency. These things are fluid, changing by the second.
Honestly, I already hate this pick, but I'm putting the Phoenix Suns in the top 3.
Oh, wow. Well, they did get a lot of superstars.
They have a lot of
I'd probably bump them
superstars.
down if they do get Kyrie.
Honestly, like Kyrie,
I'm
you're
serious.
right, man.
I'm dead
Kyrie
serious.
would be like, somehow, and I'm not sure how, they are rumored to have interest in Karl-Anthony Towns, rumored to have interest in Damian Lillard, rumored to have interest in Kyrie Irving. I don't know how this works, you guys. It doesn't
Well,
seem
you
like
should check the CBA.
they should check the
It's probably in there
CBA.
somewhere.
It would be hilarious, though. You have to admit, if they traded Ayton for like Cat or Kyrie or just some other screw the fit, screw any of this, guys. We just hate Ayton. Get him out of here.
I mean,
Get us
would
another
that be
shooter.
that surprising? Like, that's kind of the way they're trending. Just get the biggest star possible, get the biggest name possible, and figure the rest out later. As in, like, tomorrow.
Which is what the Suns have done to some extent, to a pretty large extent here. So I have a lot of questions about that team, how they would fill it out, playoff rotations, playoff matchups, all that good stuff. But I am going to at least put some respect on the talent they've amassed, particularly Devin Booker, who I think is just so much further up my list of guys I respect and fear than he was before that playoff series.
He's really good. I will say they
Except
are.
in, like, game 6s.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Jokic.
Closeout games.
Not Jokic, but he is amazing.
Forget the name, because it's always going to be the Lakers for me, but forget the name on the jersey. If you just say, all teams are just random whatever names, they're really building a hateable team. I mean, Bradley Beal's not, I think, is...
There aren't a lot of Bradley Beal stands.
Yeah,
out
not a
there.
lot of Bradley Beal, because he's the type of guy that seems to not really be that invested in whatever fan base is cheering his name. So this is a pretty hateable team, and if they added a Kyrie or a Cat, I'm not sure which one I would hate more. I think it's Cat.
Man.
I think if they got Cat, I'd be like, man, this is too perfect. I hate the squad.
Very,
And the Nuggets will beat them.
very hateable. Speaking of hateable teams, Kale, can we pull up the list? Number 2, the Boston Celtics.
Man, you're giving them number 2 status.
I'm giving them number 2. Now, I hated doing this, and I want to point out that by trading Marcus Smart for Kristaps Porzingis, they traded arguably the only player who's wanted to be in Boston in the last 15 years for a guy that no one likes. They traded a guy with the most dog in him for the guy with the least dog in him.
Yeah, right.
I do
That's-
think it's a very talented
that's
roster.
correct.
And I think if well coached, they could put themselves right back in the finals. The East is what would you say? I mean, is it competitive, the East? Is it the better conference?
Terrible.
It's terrible. So the Celtics could very well be right back in the finals. But I do want to acknowledge the low floor on the culture, the locker room, the dog in them. I have questions about the Boston Celtics, but they're number 2.
What is their combustibility factor? Because I thought it might come this offseason.
I think it's high. That's a good way of framing
So
it.
it might
Yeah.
be a team that like comes in with all the hype, but by February it's like, which one's getting traded?
Missoula's lost the locker room again. December skid. Kristaps
He's still not
Porzingis stands up
calling
to give a
timeouts.
speech.
Oh God.
Tatum starts talking about what Kobe once said, and everyone's like, I don't need, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, what are we doing
What are we
here?
doing here? Having said that, they're number 2.
You nailed this, man. You crushed this. All right.
Having said that, they're
All
number
right,
2.
who's number 1?
Well, who are we kidding? Let's see. Didn't we just hold a tournament to decide this very thing?
You even used the word tournament, which is my favorite word you say.
The NBA champions. The best team in the league. The best starting 5 in the league. It runs through the Mile High City, baby. The Denver Nuggets.
Do you agree with this list, more or less? Are the Nuggets at this very moment the best team in the NBA?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Like,
just saying. Like,
clearly.
we have a draft. You have players that are leaving or aging out or whatever.
Clearly,
Porzingis
man.
trade
I don't
already
even
happened.
think it's
I'm with you,
a
man.
source of discussion.
I'm with
like
you.
they are so clearly. I would even go as far as to say the Nuggets are in a tier of their own.
Oh, I love it.
They
There's
are in
tiers
a
to
tier
this. They're
of
the
their
tier.
own.
The Nuggets
they just
tier.
went 16-4
Yeah, one of those was an
in
overtime.
the playoffs. One of those was an overtime. 2 of those the entire team was sick for. The other one was a ridiculous shooting game.
They didn't lose an honest game this entire playoffs.
They rolled through the playoffs. They bring their entire starting 5, maybe their top 6, back. Maybe their top 8 back next season. They're in a tier of their own.
I love it. I kind of feel the same way. And now, here's what's fun about it. Bring that list back up, Kale. I expect that when we look at this list next Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it is ahead of us heading out to Summer League, when most of the decisions have been made and most of the players have been traded or what have you, I have a feeling that this list will look absurd by that point. Do you expect that, or do you think we always overestimate how many trades get made? You know what I mean? We always overestimate that.
I don't know. I think it could look pretty similar. Like, who not on this list could get bumped up? Portland if they get Embiid.
I mean, what a wild.
Is it,
I'm
okay.
telling you, that's like, nobody's reporting this or rumoring it, but it would be a wild chain of events that somehow happened.
But yeah, teams that are kind of close. I mean,
The Thunder. I like the Thunder.
How close is Dallas to this? How close is Dallas to 10? Let's say Kyrie goes back to
They're
Dallas.
close. I mean, they're close to the Clippers, you know, as the Clippers currently stand.
Right.
The Clippers aren't that good. Like, that's just the bottom line.
So yeah, Dallas, New Orleans was the trendy pick, but I mean, you can't put any eggs in that basket right now. And then I saw some people in the chat were asking about Memphis. I just don't know what to do with them right now. Ja's suspension.
Oh, I forgot about Memphis.
I kind of just left them off this list, but I
mean, it's not the worst. I mean, that makes sense.
They could figure it out. You know what I mean? So I don't want to just pretend they don't exist. Maybe the Wolves are right on the bubble as well.
I was going to say, let's go to let's just go to some of the teams that were left off. I mean, you didn't have Cleveland on here, which
they were close. I almost put them in over Philly.
You know, they're a good team and young. You know, they could do something. Brooklyn's kind of an interesting one. I don't think they'll be great right away, but they're a team that might be one trade away from all of a sudden you're like, hey man, this kind of makes sense
and could make a trade.
James Harden back to Brooklyn. Back.
Did you guys see the news out of Minnesota that happened during the show?
No, what was it?
They did not give a qualifying offer to Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Okay.
So, like, he was going to be a restricted free agent. Now he's not.
Okay.
And it seems like they are pivoting to having the full mid-level.
Okay.
As option A.
So they might even be a Bruce target.
They might be, which might mean Nickeil Alexander-Walker could be out there to
we
be
swapped
had.
Nickeil, and I mean, I like Nickeil, but I don't know that he checks the boxes Denver has. They would have a great defensive lineup, but man, how would that lineup ever
He's
score?
just a poor man's Bruce.
He didn't handle enough, though. And honestly,
no, he does.
The other thing is his shot selection was always crazy until like the playoffs of last year.
He's not a good shooter.
Yeah, but he thinks he is.
He's just a defender.
That's the problem. That's how you get to have crazy shot selection. I don't know. I would not. I don't know.
I think that would be a very nice fallback option if they do lose.
Swapping
Bruce.
anything like that is always weird, especially with Tim Conley. He takes Bruce. It'd be like, oh my god, it'd be so bizarre.
I mean, he Alexander Walker seems like the best possible guy in my opinion if they do lose Bruce.
Come. All right, well, that wraps it up for today, guys. Tomorrow, it is free agency. We've been doing all the speculation stuff. It starts to get real tomorrow, and we will be live. Uncertain what time at the moment, so stay tuned. Keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. We'll make the announcement. But it will be going live right around the start of free agency because that's when all the news happens, and it should be a good one. We're hoping that we get Bruce news. Dude, it's 4th of July weekend, man. Bruce, come back.
Are you an American even?
Come back to Denver. Do it early. We all go have a barbecue over the weekend. What do we got super chat wise?
Sam, can you explain the rule why we're maxed out on what we can offer Bruce Brown? I get they're maxed by non-bird exception rights, but can they not offer more than the exception and go further into the tax and apron?
No, it has nothing to do with the tax apron. It has nothing to do with that. When you sign a player the way that Denver did last year with the 1+1, there's just a limit on what I think it's 120% raise is the most you can offer off of the current deal. So Denver can only offer him a certain amount of money. It comes out to $7.8 million. So it has nothing to do with the apron, nothing else to do with all of that. You're just limited.
And it's to prevent stars from doing like wink winks.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's actually the idea because I was thinking about this very thing as well. But you would end up just getting a lot of, I'm going to the Lakers on a tiny deal, and then the year after that, they can sign me in using their bird rights. Yeah, you can't do that. So that's the reason why. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Avoid the tornado.
What a
See you
show.
tomorrow.
Yeah, man. We're getting